comprehensive immigration bill one step closer, perhaps. The nation's top big business and labor groups appear to have reached a deal on a program for guest workers. And of course, that's been a major hurdle in the big debate. But a bipartisan group of senators say devil could be in the details. Joining us now to talk about it, Doug Schoen, a Fox News contributor. Justin Sayfie joins us, former spokesperson for Governor Jeb Bush and publisher of SayfieReview.com. Doug, how do you handicap this thing? Will conservatives block it?
Well, I think there will be a deal. I think that's what we heard from Senators Flake and Schumer. But I think the real devil is not in the details, but it's in the Tea Party and the Republican right. They blocked it in 2006. The Republican Party is no less adamant in its base that they don't want to do immigration reform. They want to protect the borders first, foremost, and ultimately as their policy. And I'm not optimistic, even though it's long since come time where we need to do immigration reform, as Jeb Bush has himself written in his new book.
Well, and his brother, George W. Bush, tried it back in the second term, Justin. Yes. Didn't work.
Well, no, he did try. President Bush did try it, and it did actually fail. One of the issues that killed it was this issue of the guest worker program. And under this new compromise that's been reached apparently between the AFL-CIO and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the leading business group in the country, they will have a guest worker program, a new W visa that will allow up to 200,000 guest workers. But I agree with Doug that there is cause for encouragement and some hope that there is going to be a comprehensive deal done. However, it still needs to get a certain number of votes. It's got to pass muster in the Senate, and the final language hasn't been crafted yet, and it's going to take a lot of work to get that done.
You know, Doug, it's interesting, not just on the subject of immigration, but gay marriage as well. And you know, you heard Jeff Flake, a rising star in the Republican Party, talking about both subjects today, really saying that Republicans have come around on that. Is that an implicit recognition that that's really, those social issues have really hurt the party?
Well, they've hurt the party, but again, there's recognition, I think, at the elite level. Certainly their autopsy suggested that it was a problem, and I believe the Republicans need to be inclusive. The only problem is the base of the party, both on gay marriage and on immigration reform, is not as convinced as I am, and perhaps the leadership is. So I think the Republicans, Greg, candidly, are still in a degree of chaos. They've yet to sort themselves out, and these are two of the big reasons why.
Justin, are Republicans at sea on social issues?
No, I don't think the Republicans are at sea on social issues. Look, I think the biggest issue that decided the most recent elections were issues of the economy. Social issues are emotional issues, issues like immigration, like abortion, like gun rights, like gay marriage. And look, we have a diverse party. We have a lot of views in our party on those issues. But of course, a base of our party are social conservatives who defend the traditional notion of marriage, who also believe in gun ownership, and who have a very law and order view on immigration issues. And over time, we're going to have to decide that as a party, as Republicans, what will be the position of the party.
Doug, are you surprised that the AFL-CIO and the Chamber of Commerce have come together on this thing? I mean, regardless of what, you know, the Senate votes or even the House, these are two big groups that are normally at odds.
Well, it doesn't surprise me that the Chamber of Commerce would come around, because I think that there's widespread recognition, Greg, that business, both big and small, needs guest workers to do a lot of jobs that Americans either can or won't do. I'm somewhat surprised that the AFL came around with 8% or close to 8% unemployment in America, but I think it's a very good thing, and it's a sign of hopefully the bipartisan compromise that we're going to see in the future.
You agree with that, Justin?
Yeah, I do. I'm encouraged that the AFL-CIO came around, because these are workers who are entry-level workers, low-wage type workers. So these are the types of workers that you'd think the AFL-CIO would not want to have any type of a deal on. So I think it shows that there's a lot of momentum, not just with the Gang of Eight, and not just with those members of Congress, but outside of Congress, when you have these type of powerful, influential groups coming together, bridging the divide to reach a compromise on this. I think that it's good. It's a good sign that there is momentum, that we will have comprehensive immigration reform. And as a Republican, I think that's a good thing, so we can get this issue addressed and move on to other issues.
Justin, let me stick with you for a moment, and don't say Jeb Bush, but who's on the front burner on this thing? Is it Marco Rubio? Is it Rand Paul? You're going to say it's Jeb Bush.
Well, okay. I won't say Jeb Bush, but, he just came out with a book, which I think got a lot of attention recently, which he's trying to
he got a lot of criticism for not handling it very well also.
Well, you're right on the issue of whether there should be a path to citizenship or a path to permanent residency. But to answer your question directly, look, Senator Marco Rubio is part of the Gang of Eight. He's Cuban-American. He's Hispanic. He's a Republican. He's a young rising star in the Republican Party. And he is one of the up-and-coming voices, and he's showing some real leadership on this issue for the Republican Party in Congress. And if comprehensive immigration reform gets done, a Republican senator from Florida, Marco Rubio, will have had a big hand in getting that done.
Yeah, Doug, you're a numbers guy, and I do not know offhand, but somewhere around 20% is what Republicans got of the Hispanic vote, or was it even less than that in the last election?
About 25%, yeah.
Are they really ever going to make any inroads?
Well, Greg, if they don't do immigration reform, if they don't provide a meaningful pathway to citizenship for those who have come here, and if they don't have an agenda that stresses empowerment, economic growth, and traditional values aimed at the Hispanic community, no, they won't. And while Justin and his boss, Jeb Bush, are saying the right thing, the party itself has not really come around. It's great that Marco Rubio and Rand Paul have embraced immigration reform, but bottom line, the party, and I think Justin would acknowledge this, has a long way to go before these issues are put.
Justin, can the Republican Party ever win the Hispanic vote?
Absolutely they can. How? Absolutely, 100%.
How?
Well, I think step one is to be part of the solution on comprehensive immigration reform. That's step one. And then step two is to have the kind of inclusive outreach type efforts that show that the Republican Party is a party of inclusion. And then actually some of those issues you talked about before, some of those traditional values issues and economic issues are issues that I think that if Republicans can communicate effectively once the immigration reform issue is behind us, I think Hispanics in the United States will be very receptive to Republican candidacies and candidates. And look, we have a number of Republicans like Marco Rubio, like Ted Cruz, and others who are succeeding as Republicans in national politics.
But you didn't say Jeb Bush.
Well, Jeb Bush is bilingual. He's also, but he's not of Hispanic origin. But he's someone who, as a Republican, did appeal and can appeal to Hispanic constituencies around the country, as he's done in Florida very successfully in his 2 terms as governor.
Yeah,
it can be done.
He is bilingual. He's an attractive candidate for the Republican Party. We'll wait and see if he actually decides to run. Thank you.
Thank you.
Justin Sayfie, Doug Sean, as always, thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Greg.